have a bunch of fly tying material in my.
I bought a bunch today.
Okay.
I bought something which I needed anyway, and it was nice to stop in and see Mr. Reiner. It's a good egg. Your name's Dave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to see you.
Sam, that's right.
Dave.
Yep.
I'm glad I forgot.
Yeah.
When you looked at me, I'm like, okay, yeah.
No, that'll be great. What I'll do is I'll kind of move over this way and they can see up against mine. Or I can move it this way
He
too.
went in and saw you. Was he buying fly tying material?
Who's that?
Oh, you said you went.
Oh, I went and saw Mr. Reiner. Dean Reiner.
Hatch finders.
Hatch Finders. He's got.
Fly tying supplies.
Yep. Let me see.
That camera is pretty good for.
Yeah.
Can I back it up a little bit?
Absolutely.
See if it,
Move it to how it's most useful.
I
Yeah.
wonder.
I'm just gonna totally avoid it.
Does it have a focus on for there, or how do you do
It
that?
doesn't have a super close focus. Probably about that is probably going to be not as good as.
The depth of field you can't adjust.
Yeah, no, with the GoPro, no.
Okay.
And it's pretty wide angle lens, but
Yeah, it's
at least
good.
more visible than.
Oh yeah.
last time.
No, that's great. That's really good.
All right, I'll head downstairs and.
Oh look, you're getting
Anyone else?
you're getting the feedback. Look at
I
that.
thought I turned off.
Oh, jeez.
Infinite feedback.
I did turn off the sound because when I tried it earlier, it was not very nice.
I'm just gonna see if we can find a picture of Baetis, the Baetis mayfly.
I forgot to bring my microscope.
Oh, that's fine. We don't need that. Baetis, it's the gluing olive, right? That's really, we say Baetis because fly fishermen love to throw it around.
Yeah.
And we're somehow intelligent, whatnot. And then the Baetis mayfly is the, gosh darn it, the single most, it's widely distributed around the world. And we have Baetis mayflies, Baetis being the family, Baetidae. We have Baetis mayflies in Montana that we are more closely associated with the blueing olive that are 18 down to 22s, 24s. But there's also a genus called Drunella, which is like the green drake, the lesser green drake we see in the park in September, October. And Drunella has been put into the Baetis taxonomy.
Oh.
And that thing's like a 10.
Yeah.
Right? So I brought today, there are a couple patterns I want to show you today. One is a nymph. I tied these on a 20. Here, I'll just put this in there so you can see this guy. I tied it on a 20, but we can tie them bigger so that's, because dealing with the small flies is, it's not gonna.
It's gonna do something,
Yeah.
but it's.
Okay, so the Baetis nymph, so like what I like to do when I teach these things is I like to say like, hey, look, we're gonna do Baetis, but let's, like today I thought I'd show you how to use goose bite to make an abdomen, which makes a really nice segmented abdomen. And then I also have some quill, and I have some just regular old dubbing, and we can kind of go through about how to like really refine using those. Mm-hmm. And then I brought squirrel dub to show you how I tie the undercarriage there. You can see how buggy it looks and spiky with the legs. For small fly, oh, that's the Baetis mayfly right there. You'll notice that I used the long shank hook again.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Pairing
not
the green on that.
That's not a bad likeness, is it? And then
when you go back and forth.
Then the black wing casing, and I use black crystal flash for that today to give it just a little sparkle. Yeah. And so we'll start with the Baetis nymph. You want to do that?
Sure.
We can tie tiny, or we can tie on a reasonable one and then work our way down to tiny. It's up to you.
On the
And then I'm going to show you how to do the captive dun, which is a really great pattern on our local spring creeks, and it's basically a floating nymph. And this pattern I stole from Davey McPhail and Renee Harrow. That's like a little bubble right there of CDC.
So you just
fold it over, yeah. And then
Sorry, I'm good.
And then I have an emerger that sits on the surface as well, like a hatching mayfly with what they call a shuttlecock wing. Mm-hmm. And then I tied the traditional comparadon, although instead of deer hair, I use CDC. And I brought deer hair and CDC. Okay.
So how does that float on the water compared to a comparadon?
What it does is that the bottom of that fly is supposed to sink butt first.
The shuttlecock variety?
Yeah, so
It's got a little bit of a...
there's not that much difference between a comparadon hackle and a shuttlecock. So the shuttlecock should sit like this in the water. Mm-hmm. The comparadon will sit more flat in the water, right? And then you'll really get that like kind of olive stick of the abdomen thorax of the bug itself. Make sense?
Olive stick. What do you mean stick?
So like if you look at it from underneath, like a fish is going to look at it, you get that real nice profile. Yeah. And all I did here was I built up olive thread for the body. Right, one of the tricks on that is to use real the wax, to wax your throat so it doesn't absorb water and sink. Right.
So it floats a little better.
I think it does.
So do you wax your thread? Actually, put wax on it?
Yeah. So I didn't bring any today, but it's like a little round disc. You can buy
dubbing wax. Right?
Yeah. Well, dubbing wax is tacky to hold dubbing in place.
Right.
This is more just like crayon wax almost.
You know,
like mucilin.
Kind of like mucilin. I use mucilin all the time, by the way.
In bow hunting, you put some wax on your bow.
Correct.
I think that's probably exact same.
So it's harder wax than the dubbing wax.
Can I take this off and take a picture of it?
That little bugger I tie is a PMD also, and it works really well as a PMD in
like
14,
yellow.
16, 18. And so these Baetis patterns in this area come in green, which will, and the bigger ones tend to be in the spring. Olive, traditional blueing olive, 1820. But mid-summer, there's a hatch that comes off in the evening called, some people call it Western Sulfur. I've been told by the local content experts that it's actually a Baetis, but it's actually a yellowish cream color. And that's why they call it the Western Sulfur. And then the ones in the fall tend to be gray, right? Gray-green. More gray than green, though. And they're 2022s. Okay? And so they get smaller as the year goes on.
The Baetis gets smaller.
Yeah.
Gray-green.
So, Jan, do you like the grayish colored CDC? My problem usually when I get down to a 20 is seeing anything. So
yeah, me too.
Shoot to the spot that they're rising and if something comes up.
Just, yeah, exactly.
You remember last week how we put a little cider in there?
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna ruin it for anybody, even on the spring creeks. It just can't be overwhelmingly large, right? And so like what I do is like I practice casting with an 11, 12-foot leader. And then I know with my cast where that fly should be landing. I look for the landing, and then like golf, when you putt, you shouldn't putt at the little tiny hole. You should putt at the kiddie swimming pool if you're 50 feet away, right? And then get it within the swimming pool and then knock it in, right? And so what I do is I basically make my cast, see where it lands, make my mend, right? And then I watch that swimming pool area around it, and anytime there is a rise, and sometimes I'm keyed in to where it lands, I see where it lands, I make my drift, I see it move a little bit, and then I can watch the fly drift. It's hard at 52 now to do that. Yeah. But I'm watching, and I'll see the fish come up and eat it. But sometimes I just see a fish rise, and then I watch my leader. And if that leader, just like the old days, right before we had strike indicators, I came into nymphing right before strike indicators showed up, right? And so, like, remember how they used to slide a piece of old fly line? They'd pull the core out and they'd slide it up on their leader
as a cider,
right? So I mean, I do a lot of those little tricks too, and that helps. Sometimes if they're really small, I'll put it on a 2-foot dropper on an Adams.
Yeah,
because an Adams is like not so obtrusive that it's going to scare everything like a chubby would.
But yeah.
Yeah. Sound good?
Yep.
So the nymph, same thing as last week. I tied unweighted. That's one I'll tie tonight to show you. You can add a glass bead to it to give it a moderate weight, which is great below a dry dropper ring. Or you can add a tungsten bead to the head of it, a black tungsten bead, and it will go down like a... One of the other flies that I use a lot is that... the one I showed you last week in green is the Cheeseman Emerger for the Baetis hatch, and it's really good. It is probably one of my top producers, I would say, during a Baetis hatch, is that green with the flash across the back. And we can tie a couple of those tonight. I have all the stuff for that if you want to. But I thought I'd work through a series where you had a emerger, show you the shuttlecock wing and the comparator, and show you how I tie them.
That'd be great.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, let's get.
Can I clamp to the stable?
Yeah.
Do you mind?
No, yeah, I think it's pretty well
I can
used.
throw something underneath here.
It's a fly shop.
So I always bring these
Not
books.
my fly shop or desk.
Did you see that right there? That's Obama's.
Visit to Montana.
Really?
Yeah, that's his license, and it says occupation says President of the United States
Really?
on the tag.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Let me see where that is. No, it's not the Tyvek. Mr. Dorsey wrote a book, and he has this miracle mirror, the Mercury mayfly that he ties, and it looks like this. And I've caught a few fish on it, surprisingly. I didn't know if I would or not, but it kind of gives you the idea of another way that we can adapt this pattern. And so what I want to do is I want to make sure we have this. I'm going to pull this out for us. And then 1, 2, 3. Does anybody need scissors?
I think I got mine.
All
right.
Actually,
And then
but I can go down in my car. And
no, I got everything. We just got to distribute it. Just got to distribute it. Put a little Z on it.
You can use the wood finish too. I brought mine this time.
I didn't bring mine this time.
Here's 16s and 18s if you don't want to tie in a 20. Here's 18s and 20s. These are the dry flies.
I'm going to tie whatever size you use, but you're using a lot of stuff on Spring Creeks with the 20.
Correct.
So
I love Spring Creek fishing, but I also fish when the Baetis are on the big water. You know, those patterns will work just fine. These patterns will work just fine.
On 16 and 18.
16, 18.
Yeah.
You can tie them a little bit more stoutly. You don't have to be so pissy about how thin they are and all that other stuff.
Maybe I'll do 18.
Put this down here.
Shoot it.
If you're like, because I noticed like some people were like just maybe a little uncomfortable with the size last week. And not necessarily saying you guys, but I want you to be able to get the technique. Because really, what I want to teach you how to do today is like use different materials for making segmented abdomen, right?
Yeah.
And then using the squirrel dub for the thorax, spiky, give it legs. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I got some squirrel dub. Check this out. I've come to love that stuff. I'm gonna put out Coke de Leon there for tailing material, and then
This is cool. I've seen this a lot.
Oh God,
I've never used it, but I just use grizzly.
Both of you take a few feathers and put them in your bag, because like it is probably next to like wood duck. I was telling Dean Reiner today that I said next to a wood duck flank feathers, that lemony color, that's my favorite tailing material.
Yeah, this is awesome stuff.
I actually used it to tie spay flies once. Yeah. And so here I'm going to give you this. This is the Baetis. We'll do the Baetis first, all right?
Can you ever use this stuff? I mean, it's
You
not
can.
CDC, but you can
Yeah,
use
it's like a marabou, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's kind of small.
It doesn't have the floatability of the CDC.
No, it'll sink like a stone.
Wow, that's a pretty good deal. That right there, $18 for all that.
That's a lot of.
Because I buy some smaller packages and I'm spending a lot more money on.
Here, I'm gonna actually tie this. If you want to do it on a 20 here, but I'm gonna tie it on 18 so it shows up on this a little bit better so you can actually see it.
I didn't know that these things hooked together. I'm tying a size 18.
All right, here's an 18. All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I put it, sign on the door just in case someone comes and.
Is the door locked or?
Unlocked.
Oh, it's unlocked, all right.
Yeah. And you can just leave that. I'll grab the GoPro in the morning.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Good
So
night.
I was talking about this little fly last week or during the midge class, but this little thing has been a stunner for me. Check that out.
Oh, that's the one you were talking about.
I put it under a chubby and
the black one with the red
Yeah.
wire or something,
copper wire.
copper wire.
Yeah.
In the summer that does well.
Yeah, underneath a chubby, if you're drift fishing. Here's olive thread for you, olive thread for you. Here you go. Here's a
Like,
here's some olive thread there.
yeah.
Here you go, Sam. I'll use this one.
Oh, don't
One of
use
these.
that one.
Well, yeah, I'll use this one here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Doesn't matter.
No, go ahead.
Is this yours?
Doesn't matter.
So just that black
I don't want
little bead
to.
on
I don't want to take yours.
Yep.
I'll use
No,
that
no,
one.
it's fine.
I'll use that one.
No, it's fine.
I'll do it. You're teaching.
Okay, so we have an 18, a larger 18 like you guys have. Let me see the,
I'm going to take a picture of that black one too.
Yeah. Weird.
okay.
That's the one you were talking about.
Says 20, says 20, says 20, says 18. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's all right.
Yep, all right. I'm gonna use this one over here. It's a little less stout, but where did you grab yours from? Right over there?
I took it out of this.
All right, here. 18, yep, okay.
Oh, it does have a jig hook. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know, I don't like these black jig hooks as good as I do the.
Bronze or nickel or,
Yeah, but I mean they work good. But I mean, I'm just saying.
That thing, I was a little bit stunned by it, and I'd actually had a conversation with Tucker Nelson, and Tucker was like, you know, when it gets tough on the Yellowstone, a lot of times I put a zebra midge down there, and it works just great. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you should try it. I'm like, what size? He's like, 18, 16. I'm like, no way. And I was like, so I went home and I like copper on the big water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna put a copper head on there.
Yeah.
And I tie another fly very similar to this, much smaller, gray copper rib, gray thread, copper bead, and a black collar. And I call it Mark Bolton's Naughty Bits because it's small and you put it in cold water. And I catch fish on Depews with it underneath
What color is it?
it's gray bodied with a copper rib,
Yeah.
black collar, and a copper bead.
Yeah.
Tiny 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, tiny.
Yep. So whenever we start, you know, every bug is got an abdomen, every bug's got a thorax, and a head, right? So I think about that when I start to look at the shank of my hook here. I go, okay, so I'm gonna do about 1/3 down in my abdomen because I'm really working from the back of the fly forward, and I actually put it right in there as a kind of a marker post for myself. Can you guys see that okay? Not really, huh? Okay, and then so I'm just gonna tight wraps, nice and tight, as Mr. McPhail would say, and then right down to the point that I use is between the barb and the point, right? I take this off, and then we need a piece of Coke de Leon here. Here you go, Sam. Do you have any of that?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Oh, I don't have that.
Yep. So Coke de Leon.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I've never used a green one.
Yep. So I just strip all this junk off to get it out of the way. It just, like this. To take a look at it. And so then the trick I learned with this to make sure the tail fibers kind of line up is stand them up straight up and down, and you'll see how they all kind of line up like this, right? Yeah. And as I move my hand to more 90 degrees, I take a bundle appropriate for the fly, and I just pull it off. And I take a look at the tips, where I'm at. I'm okay here. There's a few mismatches. And I'll pull out those mismatched ones.
So when you say a bundle, how many fibers are you talking?
With this one, I'm looking at about 10, 12, I mean, not 10, 8.
Okay.
Okay. And then I just kind of, it's real sparse.
Uh-huh.
If you get because I tie a lot of my flies with the spring creeks, I measure the length. Is that visible? The length of the hook shank, roughly. I make the pass off, the pinch, tie it to the side, and just let the thread tension roll it up to the top.
So you want the tail as long as the shank?
Just about that, yeah.
And we don't need our tag, do we?
Not on this one. Nope. Okay. And then and I'll just go through and I'll just lash this right down up to where the thorax is. Trim it off. Right? And then come back down to the tie-in point of the tail. Some people I know, and I do it myself occasionally, right, will take a lap underneath the tail to cock it up a little bit, like that. You see that? How that does that?
Yeah.
In particular on dry flies, they do that.
And splay it out a little bit.
But it does lock it into place. Yep. Yeah, that's not that great, is it?
That's okay. We can kind of.
Okay. Then the next step would be once you get your tail in, is take one of these.
So I'm gonna cut the butts off, right?
Yeah. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna pull one off, and then I just like. Where is it?
That's my fly tying. I'm like, where is it? Damn it!
It was just here. And you have my little hackle. Oh, there's French hackle pliers or English hackle pliers.
May I borrow this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll pass this around, but I'll do it first, all right? Here's the crux of it, right?
So this is a goose buyout, right?
This is a goose buyout, right? And we're gonna tie it in by its tip. You see how it's kind of curved? It kind of goes like this.
Yep.
Turn it on its side, so the curve's going away, and lay that goose buyout right next to.
Going away like this?
Yes.
Okay.
One sec, you'll see it tied in here in just a second. And I tie it in, and I come back up, right? Just like that.
Here you go.
Oh, I put one right here for you.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Right?
So you put it in your mouth to wet it?
Just to wet it a little bit, I put it in there. I mean, if that grosses you out, we can get a thing of water here.
Yeah, I probably need to.
Yeah, so I got a little hack of punch. We'll pass it around. I'm going to demonstrate how to do it first.
Yep.
One of the tricks here, and I'm not doing it tonight, but it's to take just like go get the brushable super glue and just put a little bead of super glue across the thread.
Yeah.
Perfect, right? And then we'll clip on our hackle pliers.
Oh, so that builds up durability on it.
Well, it lashes it right down to it, right?
So Jan, you said the curve this way, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Curving out. And then we're just going to start laying down one wrap. And you'll see how the edge of the biot starts to stand up.
Yeah.
Like the gills on the Baetis nymph. Right next to each other. Doesn't that look flash?
Looks awesome.
Just like this.
So you're wrapping over the top.
Yeah, hold on. Let me give you the little hackle pliers and be gentle with it.
Yeah, I got some.
But like this. And I'm just going to tie it off, right? Just like that.
Be gentle with it, did you say?
Yeah, it snaps.
Yeah.
I think I got it with my fingers.
Yeah, oh wow, you're better than me there. So I'm just gonna lock that down now with some wraps of thread, just like that. And you can see it makes it really nice, dark, light, dark, light.
How far do you tie this one up?
I just, because you're gonna wanna leave room for your thorax, right? We're just the body, so just over half to 3/4 of the hook shank.
Yeah.
Dave, do you need these? Try this one. Okay, put your finger. Put
Is that one better?
This one. Did you have one?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, just try to make it around with it. And you'll notice I have a rotary vise, and I didn't use the rotary vise when I do this. I just went around with the hackle pliers. Just be nice and gentle with it, and and just wrap it right next to each
I
other.
love the screen. I don't have that.
You can take some of it home with you.
No.
No, you take it with you, both of you.
No.
And then, okay, the next thing we do is we just get some black crystal flash, and we'll use this as our shell back. Did you get it on there, Dave?
I'm gonna tie off the top here.
Yep, right over the edge, kind of cross it over. And then, did it come on? Oh, yeah.
Popped out of the ways.
Just a single strand of this.
Yeah, and then what I do is I just cut it up into multiple strands, like this, right? Like this, and so then I have a little bundle.
I'm teaching. We have at the high school a day called Teen Day where they do all kinds of cool activities.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching fly tying to the kids.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
It's a good thing for, like, I mean, I don't understand why we buy flies from Indonesia when we could have, hypothetically speaking, great American tires, right?
Yeah, but you'd have to work.
Yeah, I know.
It's that W word. Right?
Yeah.
Nice. That looks great.
Good job.
It really does. Now back it off a little bit from the eye so that you have some room to tie in your shell back. I'm just putting this on this. I always just kind of start on the side and let the thread tension pull it up onto the top, and then I just go backwards on it, right, to where I want to be, and snip off the excess. Okay, just like that. You see where I'm going to tie that in now? Here, I'm taking
That's great. So you got
You have a
3
ton
or
of it.
4
Yep.
pieces of crystal flash folded over, or you just had them all?
I just snipped the ends.
Okay.
So like here, look, let me give you this. There might be too much on there. That might be a little heavily dressed, but it's not so bad.
That's all right.
What I do is I go like this, Dave. I take it, I fold it in half.
Yeah.
I fold it in half again, right? And then one more time, and that gives me eight strands.
Okay.
Just like this. And then snip the end.
So you got all the ends even
Yep.
there. Okay.
Yep. Here you go. Tie it in. And then we're going to use some of this natural gray scroll. And what I wanted to do tonight was I wanted to mix it with a little olive brown. Here's here, just to kind of give it a little bit better color. So have you guys ever done the pinch blend? So I take my olive and then I take my spiky,
Oh yeah.
like this. I put them together and then I just start pulling them, and you just see it changes the color just a little bit.
So
I'll give you some of
have
this to use.
Olive and what's that?
Olive and it's just natural gray squirrel.
Gray squirrel. Okay.
Yeah, natural gray.
Ah, cool.
And it's real spiky, real spiky. That's what I love about it. And it makes it look like those legs. Because at size 20, you don't need to put in, you know what I mean? That's just plain hairs here, dubbing.
You could use regular hairs,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
You know.
Just something to give it a little greeny look is the way I look at it. It's a real interesting thing about, like, a lot of people have gotten away from dubbing. They don't like to use dubbing anymore.
I love dubbing.
I still use it, but look, well, when you put dubbing on here, take some of that and pass it over to Dave.
Oh,
would you?
shoot.
That's all right. And then, like, so the way I heard it described was when you put dubbing on your spring, it should be spread out a little bit like this. And when you put it in the air, it should float down, right? It shouldn't just sink like a stone.
Very sparse dubbing, right?
Yeah, sparse. But in this case, we want it spiky, so we're going to loosely dub it on, right? So if I put it up here, you can see that that's taken a long time to come down.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah, nice and loose, but make sure there's some of those beautiful guard hairs in there. Hand me some of that clump I gave you.
There you go.
There we go. Perfect. I got it. Right, so we'll just take this. I put it on my index finger. I put it on my on the line, and I just make a twist. Twist. Right? Just like that. So that's kind of loose. And when I slide that up and I start cranking out, you see how those guard hairs pop out? Yeah. And so I stroke them back so they look like legs. Right? And you can even brush them out a little bit. I pull the shell back over. Like this. I didn't bring my brush. Damn it. I don't have any Velcro or anything, nothing.
So it's all right.
Yep. So I just want to kind of spike it up a little bit. You can use like the side of your. And what I like about the squirrel dub is that it's real spiky. I pull this over the top as a shell back, and
Just rub your fingers on it like this,
Yep.
and it'll do it.
and that's that. That's my little quick and easy Baetis nymph. I'll make 2 wraps to lash it down,
It's a beautiful nymph.
pull it back, and then I just trim that off. Give her a haircut, and you have that picture of that Baetis nymph still up on your phone, Sam?
I did take a picture of. Yes, I do.
Or the one that you had, the actual nymph itself?
Yep, right here.
Yep. Look at, and so that's a reasonable facsimile of.
We'll do it in front of the camera. Ah, dang it.
Here, let's
see. I got it.
Give me the whip finisher, would you?
Oops, sorry. Here.
Perfect. Thanks. And so to me, that is really as close as I feel like I need to get.
The thing you did different is you put way more thorax. You made it. I like your thorax way better.
It's got to be bushy. So like.
Yeah.
If
See,
you,
I did mine
yep,
real.
well, that's all right.
sparse.
Sparse is good. I'm telling you, on a Spring Creek, a sparse is good. But I would fish this on the Spring Creek too. And then before I put it on fly, I'd brush it out a little bit, get those guard hairs out a little bit. So if we look at that picture, right, it's reasonable. I like a little longer shank hook than I got on right there. But, and you see how the segmenting from the buy it made a nice abdomen that looks almost identical to this.
Yeah.
And so this is an 18 right here. Gosh, I'd fish that unweighted underneath a dry fly, a buoyant blueing olive, or even a parachute Adams. And I would put that on there.
Oh,
Do you think that
Keep it if you want.
this would probably work with Baetis on a
Just bigger, right?
just bigger?
So like that's my thing.
Because Baetis is just basically pretty much like it. Yeah.
So like, so my I don't have any secrets, right? I stole every idea. I'm not an intelligent man. I've stolen every idea. I've stolen every idea I've ever had from the people who came before me, which is how we push our knowledge forward, right? So a lot of times you'll hear me use the term AP nymph, my all-purpose nymph, or
AP.
I use that term a lot, and it's because the nymph.
Advanced placement.
Yeah.
You are smart.
Because it looks like every mayfly nymph, and gosh darn it, if I put Baetis on for the tail and for antenna, it looks like every single stonefly you'll run across. Just change the colors, the weighting for how and where you want to fish it. And let's take a look.
You know what I really like about this is if I'm on like Burns,
Yeah.
Put this.
Hey, looking good.
Yeah.
That looks really good.
I
Let's
have
see.
to do a little bit.
It's very nicely proportioned, right? The more you tie these things, the better.
Better, yeah.
Yeah, and so like the Baetis has a prominent black wing case.
Yeah, that looks great. A little more tail material probably, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I tell you what, you can fish that as a midge too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All purpose.
Yeah.
All
purpose.
Yeah.
purpose. So with the all-purpose nymph gets for the Drunella mayfly or the green drake gets a little or short stubby marabou tail, and then it's just thorax head, right? The all-purpose nymph, and so how if I were to say if there was a prototype all AP nymph, it's on a size 16. It's got a pheasant tail abdomen. I brought pheasant tails today to just kind of show that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Some different colors that I have, right? Okay, so then it's pheasant tail and it's ribbed with copper, right? That's the pheasant tail nymph that I stole that from.
Yeah.
I tie in the shell back of whatever I want. In some cases it's black. Sometimes I use thin skin, whatever. A thorax of whatever dubbing I want from the like the real shiny stuff to like once in a while I'll tie one that's black and blue for steelhead or something like that, and then then I put a twist of soft hackle into it, and I pull the soft hackle or I pull the shell back over the soft hackle and spread the legs out so it swims like this. In the bigger sizes, in the smaller sizes, I use the spiky dubbing to do the same thing with those legs.
Can you say that again? You pull back. What did you say? Pull back.
I put 2 twists of soft hackle on. Okay. Then I pull the shell back over the soft hackle and separate the legs. So the legs go like this.
Yeah.
AP nymph. That's where I got it. All purpose. Why? Because I can change the tails and have a stonefly. I can change the thorax to any color from an attractor to an imitation. I can change the abdomen from pheasant tail to this, depending on size. Like obviously you can't do a size 16 with that, right? We can barely make it work on the 18.
Right.
Yeah. So for 18 and down, I'll do this, or I'll use.
You're saying you can't use this on 18?
Well, you can. I just did, but it works better on the 20s because it's just not very long. And the more you only get a few more wraps. But like here are quills, peacock quills, in olive that you can use too, and lay those down one night. They make a really nice segmented.
Peacock quills.
Yeah, I tend to use those for the rusty spinner for the abdomen. I put a little ball of yellow at the end. And it splits the tails when you lay it down on it. You put that quill on it looks smooth. Put a thorax in with and the wings are tied downright and divided mallard flank.
So will this quill give you that same
Segmented body?
Segmented body. Okay.
Yeah.
Turkey quills will work too.
Oh yeah.
Especially they're black and white more, but you could use them.
Yeah.
Never died.
So the AP nymph, right? So, I mean, like, the more of these guys come to you, hear me, so like my go-to stuff is an insect. I typically has a thorax, abdomen, and head. Now, once you learn to use these materials, and that's what I like to teach is like how to use the material, what works best on what sizes, then you can change it to whatever you want to do. This is what kind of, to me, is different than the fly tying. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to do the pinch wrap and lay down this, and then we're going to tie a woolly bugger. And no. Let's look at materials, how they fit on a fly hook, and then play with them. Like, do whatever you want. Like, go turn rocks and look and say, I think I have that color green. I got it. Look, and then just try to emulate it. It looks like about a size 18. Make sense?
Yep. Nice.
The next one. Let's do the next one. Same thing.
I love this color.
Yeah.
This stuff.
Take it. Yeah.
No. I have some at my house. I love it. It's awesome.
So let's get some 18 hook. I'm gonna do it on an 18 again. And this time we're gonna use a little CDC. So let me get us some CDC out here. You want another 18? A couple there for you.
We got one.
Sam, you got some?
Yep.
All right.
Gosh, this 18's tiny.
Yeah, it's a dry fly hook.
I think it's weird how when you go and buy hooks, it's like 118 is in one brand is not an 18.
This looks like a 20 in another. I don't know. This is a pretty tiny hook.
I have some 16s too, but so this one we're gonna do that CDC bubbled what Renee Harrop calls the captive dun. So what we'll do is we'll start with our thread again at the 1/3 mark, 2/3 abdomen, right? And then just go backwards. And then clip that off.
Back between the hook point and the barb.
Yeah, that's kind of that was the marker I learned right from the beginning. Was some people now with some of the new hooks are just tying to the point, or some of them are, especially with like the curved caddis hooks, they tie down the bend a little bit. But like as a general rule, between the hook point and for this hook particularly, between the hook point and the barb. Yep. So we'll tie in a tail.
Same thing, 6 to 8 fibers.
Yeah, 6 to 8 fibers, about the distance of the hook length, the shank length of the hook. Tie it in on the side and just let it carry up over the top. Like that, lock it in, and then I just go up and I stole this from the salmon fly guys. They when they tie in materials, they'll go all the way up the hook with it, and they lock it. It makes for a very durable fly, right? Because it's anchored in across the entire thing, and it also helps build body. And then, but remember that you're going to want to leave some room there for you to do your work with the CDC bubble. Yeah. And so I come down, I'm going to go underneath the tail fibers again just to kind of lock it in. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but we'll do it. And I got kind of a shitty tail on this one myself, but
fish don't care.
Fish don't care, right? We'll use one of our little, if you guys want to try this, we can try this too. Although I think this is a little too thin.
Are we gonna we can do this again?
I would use that one again. I really like the Baetis, the way the Baetis looks.
Baetis, yeah.
And I'll grab one too.
There you go.
Thanks. And I just moisten it in my mouth, and hopefully there's not COVID on it, right?
I've been so inoculated with being around all the students. I don't think it's a big deal for me anymore.
Are you a teacher?
No, I'm a head custodian.
As a general rule, I don't believe in trimming tails. Look, I had a couple strays there that I want to clean up.
So we're gonna wrap this around. Let's see if I can do it with my fingers again.
Man, that's Herculean. I can't do it with my fingers. I have to use the.
Oops, it snapped off.
Give me your.
Herculean. Woo. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna bring it all the way up to the top up here. Quickly do this. Dave, what's your last name? Ottman.
Does it really matter what side of the buyout you tie it?
I don't know if it does or not. Some people say that one side flares more, but
like as long as
you get that segmented look.
It doesn't really matter.
Correct. Right?
Scott, the kids will be excited to have a fly tying class.
Yeah.
They love it.
Like every kid that graduates from Livingston High School should at least know how to tie a fly.
But I think, but I'm not very fast with them because last time I had a class, it took us an hour and something to tie one woolly booger.
Well, that's fine. They're kids.
But
They're gonna punch each other and everything else. And, you know what I mean?
I had all kinds of ability levels, and some of them didn't pay attention to them. Some,
Yeah.
I think that's.
But if you have too many of them, if you have too many kids in class,
Yeah. Well, my thing is,
you're helping them all out, and it's not good.
my thing is always just like
Too
keep
big of a
it
class.
simple, right? Keep it simple with kids. Keep it fast and simple. All right. So I'm tying that in. I'm going to move my fly back to the about the 1/3 mark. I'm going to take
your segments look a lot closer than mine do, but maybe it's a size quill.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Like I noticed that mine started getting pretty wide there too.
Yeah.
You got yours on? Perfect. Look at that, man. You're crushing it. Let's see here. I just had CDC feathers somewhere. Here they are. So on the smaller ones, on the bigger ones, I would say double up the CDC. They're cupped like that. Spoon them, right? On the smaller ones, you can get away with one. I'm going to try 2 on this one, but if you want to just do 1, that's fine. I'm going to just grab 2 out of here and here. And then, for instance, like this here, I'll go like, just see the cup and just bring them in like that.
So when you're buying CDC,
Yeah.
I always find CDC like there's so much variation.
Oh God, some of it's just plain shit. Yeah.
So how do you tell? Like, I mean, sometimes I'm like looking, there's puffs and
Yeah.
there's, this one's got a fairly thick stem back here.
I hate those.
So do I.
I just don't get. It's hard to do, Dave. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
I roll the dice, to be honest with you. I go, okay. I found some CDC. Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm going to take a different feather because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's too stiff for me.
Right, because what we want is this nice at the end. You notice when I was tying the stuff up today, I have a few of them here saved for shaving. Look at the ones I grabbed, and I cut them off. And so in this case, what I do is, again, a little spittle on there, and then I just stroke the fibers down like this. I go into the fly, and the key here is tie in and pull back. Okay, this is the trick.
So you're at the 1/3 mark.
Right at about the 1/3 mark, right? I make 2 light wraps, no tension. And then I just pull it back to where I want it. You see how that's coming back real nice?
So you
Right to where I want it. Oh, I missed one. One came out, I think. And then I tie it in, just like this. Back to that 1/3 mark. Okay? Little pro tip here. Where's our little spiky dub? Or you can use, perfect. That spiky dub. Like this. Just gonna put a little bit in between there. Like this.
God, what you doing now?
2, 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna pull it over like a shellback, except I'm gonna push it back now into a little ball.
A loop, yeah.
You see that? See how I did that? I pulled it tight and then I backed it off. I make a pinch up over the top. Pinch over the top. Come on. There we go. All right, got it. Right? Pull this back. 1, 2. Trim it off. And then I'm going to make my head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like that. Nice little head there. And then whip finish. So what do? We took our base practice today, which is learning that segmented body with a biot, and we've added a different aspect to it, right? We've made it now, instead of a nymph that will be on the bottom, we have something that will ride in the film. And And then what I do with my bodkin typically is I come in here and I just kind of prop up this. And it's okay if you have some strays because they look like legs sticking out the side. Just like that. And then you have some, I'll come in here and I'll just kind of clean this up a little bit. So you can see that green. And this is Renee Harrop's Captured Done. Here's the one I tied this morning, see?
Yes, I did see it. I'm gonna see if, I'll look at it again. See if
And that sits right in the film.
Film.
And I will tell you that on the Spring Creeks, those fish do not eat the top duns. They eat them irregular.
Oh yeah.
They eat them right in the film dip. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that about them.
Yeah.
So you want something that is flush on the surface.
Surface,
Yeah.
on the Missouri, I think that'd be huge too.
Oh yeah. I've sadly been on the Missouri one time for a good hatch. I usually fish it in April when I'm tired of here.
You know Aaron Hansen.
The name sounds really familiar.
He fishes that, and he talked about the
Yeah.
depth of.
Let's see yours.
I fished that. Well,
I gotcha.
I fished that one. I fished the Missouri once. That was tough.
Yeah,
Some
it
beautiful
can be.
fish.
Yeah.
Man, I was like dying.
How's that one?
That looks great.
I said,
Yeah, I'll sit right in there.
Cool. I
Let's
love
just-
it.
So always take a look at your flies from underneath, right? You want to be able to see
Is that bubble too big?
No, I don't think the bubble's too big. I think it's good.
Is the
What I would do is I'd come in underneath it with your scissors, and I would just trim out some of this in here so that I can see the green body. But to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to make a difference because they're going to just see that coming down. They're going to come up and look at it, and then they're going to eat it. And because you used a little olive, okay, there it goes. And so look at this. Look how the CDC stands out from the side, and it looks like legs. And that'll actually help facilitate the float. Again, remember to use shake on this as opposed to gel.
kink and
Yeah.
whatever? Yeah.
Yep.
No. What's the stuff called? Not Viagra, but
Flyagra.
Flagra.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Flagra. See, I think I put a little too big. I exaggerated the bubble a little more than we
But
did.
that's gonna make it float better though.
This bubble looks like almost cut or something.
Oh, yeah, it looks a little smushed is what it looks like.
I mean,
It's there. I think it's one of those bad pieces of.
they won't care about the bubble being bigger because they're
Yeah.
gonna look at it from underneath.
Correct.
Anyway. But will it ride sideways then?
It might.
You know.
But even if it does, it looks like a cripple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on the bighorn when the PMD hatch was coming out, and we would rotate between cripples, adults, and
Yeah.
emergers, and they would the fish you could visibly tell. Oh, they're not hitting that anymore. We'd have two flies, and
Yep.
and then we'd switch, and we start catching them. We in 2 days, one riffle, 150 fish. Wow. We were doubled up the whole time. It was
my God.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and a guy floated by with a tube,
Yeah.
like an inner tube. He said, and the fish are all like, the water's boiling. He said, "Seen any risers?" And I'm like,
Oh man.
this is one of the times I said, "Nope,
Good
I
finisher.
can't help you if you don't."
oh, right in front of me.
That
There we go.
that was pretty mean, actually. Yours looked great. I like yours better, way better than mine. Your bubble is perfect. You've tied before.
I'm horrible dry fly tire.
I had to be honest with you, like my bread and butter's nymphs.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I fish mostly nymphs anyway. I can tie a dry fly, and like my friend Willie Dietrich, I've told you about him before. He ties dry flies, and he does okay. They're not super pretty or whatever, but he goes, the key is getting the right materials.
Yeah, if you don't have the right palmer, the hackle size,
it's
the width, you're screwed. Did you drop it?
I did.
I want to see your fly after your.
Well, it might not be possible now.
Oh, it's right underneath you somewhere.
It's either that or it's stuck in my.
Ooh, you probably stepped on it. That's a bummer.
Once in a while, I'll hear my wife say something like, "God damn it, Jan."
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be like a hook in one of her.
Oh, I know. I have hooks all over the place. Can I see yours? Just
God, it just goes off. I'm like, "Ooh, sorry, honey."
It is no fun.
That's when you know your marriage.
Fun getting 18 barbed hooks stuck in you.
Or like in your sock. Yeah. And then also, like, God damn it.
God, that's beautiful. Yeah. Wow, good job.
I don't know if it was beautiful, but it would work.
I put too much bubble. I exaggerated my bubble. Next time I'm gonna. You know what I did is the wispy tail. You know, it's so wispy. So I bent over the leftovers.
Yeah.
And then I cut it real short, so it's half the tail. So it just made a little more tail. Does that make sense?
See, that looks fine.
So on this one, I'm going to use the 20, but I'm gonna, because I like it's a little bit longer shank, and we're going to add not only CDC to this, but we're going to add a few twists of dry fly hackle. And I brought some of that, so that right there.
Ooh, look at that stuff. Man, you buy the high dollar stuff for sure. Look at how fine that is.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Pro grade.
Pro grade, that sold me right there.
$56.
Just like the guide model. I'm like, where do I get it?
Pro grade.
Just
Look
take my
how
credit
fine
card.
those are. Holy crap.
So I bought it because I do need to up my game a little bit on the dry fly stuff, but.
That's gorgeous.
So I'm gonna put in a 20. This is a 3X long. This is the same one we were using last time, the 270, or what I like to use, the Tiemco 200R.
Which one are we tying?
This one, this shuttlecocked one, right?
Shuttlecock.
And instead of putting Coq de Leon on there, I'm gonna put Zelon, which looks like a little shuck instead, right? Because I looked at that and I said, I like the shuck better than I like. And this is like more of a cripple fly, right? Like this.
So stuck in the film with just emerging out of the shot.
Coming out, right, crawling out.
Can I grab a hook?
Yep,
You're fine. Sam. That's okay. That's okay, Bill.
Yeah.
I know it's Dave, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you spell your name Jan, people are like, is there a Jan around? I'm like, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I've been called so much worse than Jan. You have no idea.
That's what my wife says. She's, oh, there's going to be a lady teaching you.
No, it's a dude.
Yeah, and she's hot.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Yeah, I won't be actually tying it tonight.
Yeah. I'm really just there to observe.
Yeah.
I got put in the girls' gym class my first day in high school, and they were like, I remember the gym teacher, his name was Ed Zadowski. He's like, where do you think you're going? I'm like, hey man, it says this room right here. So look, I just use a little bit. Like the production flies, they use way too much trailing shuck.
Yeah.
It looks like a cigarette, right? So I just use a little bit, and sometimes, depending on the pattern I'm tying, I'll put in 2 tail fibers behind it, or either side of it. It looks great, but that's just for me.
Does Zelon sink or float? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
It's synthetic. It probably
Sinks
floats,
like-
I imagine.
I think because it's the what's the Antron is A and Z. Z sinks and.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
So I just put a little bit on, and I even just trim it off, like, look, just a little bit, like a wisp, right? Because if you look at those shucks in the water when they don't look that substantial. They're virtually see-through, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what.
Okay.
Well, this stuff splays out.
Yeah, it does. That's why I kind of like it. It's
So are you making the shuck about the length of the body?
yeah, just about.
Not quite.
I'm gonna get some thread on my hook. Again, a third from the eye.
Yeah, third from the eye, because we want to keep room for our floating section, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna come right down to the bottom here.
We need to buy it.
I might actually even come underneath it.
I'm gonna do a little bit buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the buy it again, but the comparadon I'm gonna do for you guys, I'm just gonna do a thread body to show you how smooth you can make it.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to do the buy it.
I'm pulling this from, because I guide for the Nelsons on Nelson Spring Creek, and they have some flies that are custom made for their shop. And what I notice about them is that they're very thin and smooth. When I razor bladed one to see what it was, you know, and I unwrapped it and I found out it was like largely straight up thread.
Huh.
Yeah. So you can get that thread, you can wax it and it'll make it last a little longer. I'll put on a goose bite again here just because we like that. We like that, how it looks. And
You could use a darker green and
yep.
and it would probably work just as good.
The first time we moved here, and my daughter says to me, she goes, "Dad, you've got the afternoon off. You should go down and fish a spring creek." I said, "Christ, I've never fished a spring creek in my life. I don't think I'm like the style fisherman to go down and fish a spring creek." So it was during the week, and I went down, and I was like, So nobody there, nobody at the shop. It was in November, and you know, there's a little thing that says, you know, call this number.
Leave $40 in the coffee can.
No, just call this number. And
Yeah.
I called, and somebody comes down, and I said, I was wondering if you had any rods available. She goes, "Yeah." She goes,
For this one.
You'll be the only one here today. And I said, I guess that's good.
Are we doing this one, Jan?
No, that's the comparadon.
We're doing this one.
Yeah, that's a full on done. We're doing a little cripple here now.
And it was a lady, and she said to me, she says, have you ever fished here before? I said, no. I said, I've never even fished a spring creek before. She goes, oh. I said, I'm going to need some flies. And I said, from what I understand. She goes, okay. She goes, I'll help you out. So she opened the shop up. And she's like, so how are you with size 20 and 22?
I'm not.
No, I'm not. She says, well, that's what you got to fish here. I said, okay. She goes, "You have any 6X tippet?" I said, "Nope." She said, well, I think I spent more in the shop than I spent in the...
Yeah, on the day.
On the day, yeah.
It's a common problem of mine.
I got to tell you, she introduced me to using a yarn indicator.
Yep.
Oh,
it was Jackie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. She was the one who told me, she's like, you need to use the New Zealand yarn indicator.
And that was a blast. I had a great afternoon.
That place is unbelievable, Dave. I really I like all the outfitters I work for, but like guiding Nelson Spring Creek is something else.
Really?
Oh my God.
Do they have where you can pay to do that?
Mm-hmm. They have public days, yep.
Yeah.
Is that what they've done now?
Yeah, they've kind of gone.
Yeah.
They've gone to kind of a more private thing for because they have lodging there.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Is Nelson's near?
It's right across
Hughes?
opposite side of the river.
Nelson's, there's Nelson's, and then where's Armstrong's?
That's the northern extension of Depews. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
put the Zelon on. So do I wrap all the way back up to the third?
Yeah, that's what I would do. And then come back down, and what I'll do is give you a little bit of body there. I'm just going to use these two here. This one's got a big old spiky vein in it, but that one's pretty good. There's that one. This one and this one.
And are we putting a buyout on here again?
You can use a buy. Yep, that's what I used.
Okay.
Just give you some repetition with the buy it.
Are we using palmering a feather on this one?
Yeah, we're gonna use a dry fly hackle on this
Right
one.
here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. Let's just get the CDC the CDC shuttlecock wing on first there.
Okay.
You can buy that one here.
And I use 2, 3 doubled up just to give myself a robust wing there.
You really gotta do the student fly.
Yeah.
Where's my phone? Can you hand me that?
This one?
That one, mine.
Yep.
The student fly. I'm gonna show you this if I can.
Like this. So like when I put 3 of them together, look at the kind of shuttlecock wing I'll get on that, kind of thick.
So that's 3 CDC
Yeah, kind of
tips
just
together.
yeah.
Here it is, right here. It has CDC on both
yeah.
the tail and the deal.
Oh yeah, well I mean that's basically what we're gonna do tonight.
Yeah, except for we have a different tail,
Yeah.
and the body is just thread.
Yeah.
I think there might be dubbing for the. I think I just did, but anyway, it is, and the natural. Like this, but you tie it a little better than this even, and this fly is
A killer, huh?
yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you another one that I really like from the Northeast that nobody fishes here is a fly called The Usual by Fran Betters. You heard me use his name last time, but it's all snowshoe hair. He uses in the winter, that snowshoe hair is very translucent. Mm-hmm. He uses hot pink thread underneath it, and then just loosely wraps this snowshoe hair, guard fibers and dubbing onto it, and it looks like a beating heart in the middle of this thing. It's got the Comparadon wing, and it. And
What's it called?
It's called The Usual.
Usual.
Yeah. Okay, so I tie the shuttlecock wing on like that, right? And I'm gonna just put in a little bit of dubbing right here. Let me take a dry fly hackle. Here, can you hand me the?
Right here.
Yep. Here, I'll take this out. I'm just gonna take one of these from up over in here, nice size one, just to kind of, here we go, put that over here.
You got a whole lump in there for some reason. What the heck?
Yeah. There. Okay.
Yep, I know what you're doing now.
Okay, so I tied it in. I'm going to tie in a dry fly hackle to the side like this. Wrap it up forward. Pull pull the shuttlecock wing back.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. You're basically palmering around the.
Yeah, and then just gotta get my shuttlecock wing in the right place here. Put the like this. What are you guys feeling for next week? What do you want to tie next week? You have any requests?
Either March Browns or
March Browns
or
shuttlecock wing. Okay, so I put a little bit of hackle under when I tied in that dry fly. See this hackle right here? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna make wraps on this, back to front, like this. 1, 2, right? And then as I come around the front, I pull everything back, 3. If I can get a 4th one in there, I will. I don't know if I can or not. 4. Okay. And then, just like that, tie it in. I crowded the eye a little bit on that, but that should sit front half up, bottom down. And so let me just tie this off. This is, the curse of my
Yours looks
tying is
way better.
I crowd the eye pretty regularly. Let me borrow the whip finisher.
Sorry.
That's all right.
There you go. Sorry. Yeah, yours looks way better than mine.
This is not an easy because there's a lot going on in that front third. 3, I'm not gonna worry about it. And I didn't exactly do it justice, but still, I can get in here and go. And this will sit like this.
Oh, look at that. Nice job, Jan.
Oh, that's pretty good, Sam. Seriously, that will work. That will work very well.
It'll work.
Here.
It's just not so. I didn't wrap the palmering like you did somehow. How many did you do? 2 in the back and 1 in front?
I tried 2 in the back, 2 in the front, but 1 in the front probably would have been better. I wouldn't have crowded the eye so much. So let's get you some CDC so you can tie it in. And where's the CDC bag? Just cool.
Right here.
Okay, good. Grab 2 or 3 of them.
That looks great, Jan. That looks
Yeah, that's
great.
nice.
That's nice.
And that thing should sit. I'm going to tie this in 16.
But the Zelon actually pulls the
Correct.
down.
In fact, Sam,
Which is good.
I might consider changing the abdomen on this so that I could put wraps of copper on it to get it to break the surface. Because that top end is going to be a cork,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's a little oversized of. It's a little oversized of a hackle too. By the by, I could have gone on one size
Yeah,
smaller.
but I still like it.
And it'll sit like that.
You could trim the bottom.
Yep.
If you
Oh
wanted
yeah.
to.
Yeah, you're right. And so I think if you want the butt to sink, it's okay to add some
Weight.
weight to it, right? So here we go. I did trim it a little bit, and it does sit a little bit flatter.
Yeah. So I've got my buyout on tied in there.
Yep,
I've got
so-
my CDs. So
Right.
am I going to do the same thing that we just did on the previous fly?
Nope, you're gonna put your shuttlecock in facing forward over the eye, tie it in with 2 loose wraps, and then pull it to the length you want.
So just like we did with the previous.
Yeah. And this is that shuttlecock wing is something the English have done for many, 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 many years. Let me just clean this up a little bit.
I'm gonna tie you up.
Oh, you mean the height of the wing is the tip of the CDC, right?
Right. 2 loose ones, and then you can pull it back to whatever length you want.
Okay, I got you.
You know what you could also adopt, and I'm thinking out loud now, is if you had a clink hammer hook, you could do this as a clink hammer hook.
Yeah.
And parachute the CDC.
So here's the length,
All right. Let's see.
and then
Good.
what's my next wrap?
So wrap backwards to that 1/3 mark again.
Okay.
Okay. Then tie in a nice, here, I'll give you this one. Use this one. If you want a longer one, you can grab one out of there.
So I don't have to trim my stub or anything
I
like
just
that
pull off a few fibers to tie it in
to
with.
give me a stem at
Yeah.
the end? Okay.
I'm gonna tie you a student, Jan.
All right.
and I'm gonna give it to you.
Thank you.
And then you can, yeah, I think
So,
you're gonna be.
Is that too small? You want a bigger one?
No, I think it's all right.
Yeah, if you can get it on there. So trim off that shit you don't want hanging out off the back end.
This here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you don't have to deal with it.
Where's the CDC at?
Here.
Perfect.
A little bit of a bump there. So
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yep, yep. Tie that in, and then use a little bit of the dubbing too. Once you've tied it in,
All right.
to go over the top of it.
I'm tying it in with the hackle.
Point it backwards. Yep.
Okay, and then a little bit of a bulb of squirrel hackle on
Yep.
top of that.
Because it looks like this, right?
Okay.
Yeah, legs coming out. So give yourself a couple wraps, good, right there, good. Now stop,
Okay.
and then now start hackling over the top of that,
Hackling over.
the dry fly hackle.
So I've got enough spiky squirrel on there now?
Yeah, it looks like from here I can't see that far, Dave. You know, it will fuzz off, right?
Okay.
And now just hackle forward 2 wraps right next, working your way forward. Then you, after the 2 wraps, what I want you to do is pull back that shuttlecock wing and then put a wrap in front of it. Happy mistakes, Dave. Happy mistakes, Mr. Bob Ross. Pull it back and do a wrap in front of it. If it looks good, do a second wrap. If it doesn't look good, don't push it. I pushed it and I crowded the eye. Good. Now, grab your thread,
Yeah.
right, and lock it down. Just let that hackle hang and work it in front. Pull back the shuttlecock and tie it off. Perfect. We'll trim off your dry fly hackle. Looks pretty good from here. There you go. I did it today, by the way. Went and cut it when I was doing the samples for today. I cut the thread.
Oh yeah.
No, we'll finish it off. We're good.
Huh.
There you go.
Interesting.
Looks good. Let me take a look at it. And the more you tie this one, the more you tie this, the more you'll learn the proportions, okay? Don't worry about being unproportioned or anything like that. What we want to do is we want to take, that looks great. Are you kidding me? That actually looks like it's a comparadon, almost, right?
It does, doesn't it?
It's fine. Comparadons catch fish, man. I think it looks great. Shuttlecock should just kind of push off the front end like that. Yeah, and you got those two nice hackles on there, wispy back end, and that's how it should ride.
All right.
Right?
So, yep, with the butt down.
And that's why I wonder if maybe a copper rib on that with maybe a different body type might actually be more effective because it'll pull it down.
All I gotta do is lousy cast it enough times, it'll get wet.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. That's not what you're stepping in. I think it looks great.
No.
And you can even go in and you can do the CDC.
Sorry.
You can snip it if you. So that's another easy one. That one's a little bit more complex. I think that's the most complex fly we'll tie tonight. And then we'll do the compare done. And Dave, you're right at the compare done. Because you see how it's coming down the side like this? Yeah. Shuttlecock typically goes up like this.
That's, a little bit pinched.
But with that said, I would fish that fly over a rising fish pretty much every time. Yeah.
I like the Z1 shuck.
I know you want them. I've had it for like 10 years. Just grab a hunk of it. Look how much I got of it for $1.95.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, just grab a bunch of
them. That must have been 20 years ago, right?
Where did I get it from? Well, Bozeman Angler, so it had to be within the last 7.5. Here. I'll give you a hank of it that'll last you.
Yeah.
And it's amber colored, so it works really good for the caddis flies too. Here you go.
That's an interesting subject. So I've seen 2 Mother's Day caddis hatches.
Yeah. Here, he wants them.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
How do you usually fish that young one?
There's so many flies on the water.
Yeah.
You know, I fish it. I tie an X caddis or an X2 caddis, second generation caddis, peacock body, right? Deer hair, and then peacock dub on the front end. Oh, it's great. And then oh man. And then I don't blind cast that thing anywhere. I look for a rising fish and just try to put it in its lane. And then I'll drop off the bottom of it, peacock soft tackle.
That's yours.
Oh, thanks.
So this is called the Student. I'll tell you what, I think you need to try it.
Yeah.
When there's adults and but they're really picky on the adults on flat water.
Nice, yeah.
That fly
For the
Baetis.
For the Baetis?
Yeah.
Nice. So the body of that is what? You just have
I just thread bottom.
Yeah.
thread body?
So that's what we're gonna do on this next one here. Real simple thread body compared on with CDC.
Yeah, it's similar to that. Yeah, except for I use the CDC for the tail.
Yeah.
And picky fish love that.
Yeah. I love flies that catch picky fish.
And the bighorn, my friend Dan Groshans is used to guide the bighorn, and he's a real good fisherman. He showed me this fly, and I've tried it on the bighorn.
And it works
on
great.
Picky fish. Oh my god.
Just leave everything alone and come up and eat it.
Yeah.
CDC, man. Gotta love that stuff.
It's great.
I think
and then I just dust it, you know.
Yeah.
I put extra this. Now I have a little stem in there that he would go and pick it out and cut the stem out of there. But I kind of doubled over stuff to ball it up there. So.
Nice. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, this is a killer fly.
Yeah. It looks killer.
And then when the midges are out, you do that.
Oh man.
You do that with a midge,
That's
the
just
same
like,
thing, but you don't do any body, any tail at all. And then I did some black and red, and with black CDC, and I've caught big fish in the tail end of the pools, you know, with the midge hatch there, too. But a lot of people you guide, they can't handle CDC.
No.
They can't cast
it. You can't see it. They can't.
They can't cast it to where it just floats
Float
down.
down.
You can't
They
just
don't have
slam it
touch.
on the water.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll drive it underneath the water surface.
Right.
Plus, every fish is going to leave the tail.
Especially when it's like this deep in
Right,
water.
when they slap the water. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love it.
Huh.
Most people can't see it, so you have to come up with ways
Right.
to help them.
Yeah.
Right.
Like tell them, set the hook. He ate it, set the hook. That's what I do. It's just like,
I know.
I can't see it. I'm like, don't, I say like,
guiding on a spring creek.
I know.
Right?
They say I can't see it. I'm like, don't worry, I can.
That was great.
Last time.
That's pretty good if you could see somebody else's cast.
When that's all you do.
Yeah. Wow.
So like, I do carry binoculars once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like on the spring creeks. Like I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know. And
Well,
so,
it's nice to be able to look up the creek and sit there and see and find heads.
and not spook
Yeah,
them.
right.
Right. You know, like some of that stuff at Nelson's, like from the duck blind up, is all greasy, thin water. Those fish are in less than, in some cases, like a foot of water, and they're fucking huge. And there's just like lump. And you're like, what did he eat? Right?
So you use your binoculars.
So
That's smart.
I was like belly crawling through the swan shit, you know. I get out to the end, and I was like, the last week I showed you that red threaded string thing with the flashback. And I put that underneath an olive, and I was like, and it went past him, and it looked at it and went back down. I was like, I pull it up, and I added like 8 inches more of it, and it was right at it. Its level came right at it. All of a sudden, it went, oh, and I saw the whole thing because it has that little flashback on it, and I went, holy shit, he ate it, like this, and it was like a 20. It was like a brown trout, about 20 inches, and that thing went zoop, zoop, and it was like throwing a bow plane everywhere it went. It was in such shallow water.
Yeah. That's when you hold your rod way up.
I
just
know.
hoping he's not digging underneath, right?
Ooh. I had a client catch a really big fish at what they call the muskrat pool there. It's so you got the
pond area.
right. So then you have that zoogie that comes down.
Yeah.
It's the next hole above that, and that thing burrowed in. And it was a big fish, and I wanted
6X, yeah.
Well, I was somewhere a little heavier than 6X that time.
Oh.
And I just went in my net, and I went, boop, and I tapped him, and he went zoop, out like that, and he played him, and said, keep him out of the weeds and out of the thing, and we landed him, and
Wow.
that was probably my biggest guided fish of the season last year.
How big was it?
I would have said 20. I don't think it was 21, but like my net is 20 inches across, and it was touching. Yeah, both sides.
Wow.
Nice fat fish too.
Really, really big.
Yeah.
And he was like all big-eyed, and I took his picture, and then he like was like, "Did you get that on video?" And I'm like, "I don't really get that on video. I got a picture of it. It's perfectly fine."
Did you get it?
In the video, I was like standing in the middle of the water with the net.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Unless you have GoPros out your ears, you know.
I had another one this year, and I love them all, but he was like, "I want you to videotape me doing this." I went, "It's your day." So I videotaped him. And I had to figure out some elaborate way of downloading the video for him.
You mean right then and there?
Yeah.
Before he left?
No, well, like, because the video was too big for me just to text or airdrop to
Right,
him.
yeah.
So we had to go on to Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Yeah, Vimeo, whatever it is. And I had to create an account, and he created an account. We became friends, and then he could take the thing off of that after I downloaded it onto that. I was like, whew. And then he sent me this like action-packed video of him like his sporting.
He edited it?
Oh yeah, he was really into that stuff. Just send me the raw stuff. Don't. I just want all of it.
And then it was action-packed with music and everything and lettering
like
and,
the Magnum PI soundtrack. Dun, 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 he's like, dripping wet with like, here I am deer hunting, you know.
I thought about that.
I was like,
hopefully a really young guy, right?
No, he was older.
Really?
Yeah, he was a real estate guy.
He had some money to pay for the video editor here. He gave the
No, I think he did it himself because he had made his money building large communities in Florida. Mm-hmm. And so that's how he sells his communities, is that he has a drone and a video camera, and he like come in through the gate, and on your left is the swimming pool and hotel, you know, and then on the sides are the community, you know, and he was like, this is the wave of the future. You got to be on it. You got to be on it. I'm like, I can't do everything. Just do this, right?
We want to keep fishing just like fishing. Something that we don't have to think about
I know.
too many other things.
I mean, I'm like, if you want me to video you fishing instead of me trying new flies and readjusting me, I'm happy to do that for you.
But I can't do it all.
I can't do it both.
You know, I've watched the bass fishing, you know, and
God.
I have the the GoPros everywhere. And,
Yeah.
you know, I thought about putting it all over my boat, but then, you know, I talked to Eric Strader about that. He says, you know, I'm in the business of fishing,
Right.
video. You know, you'd spend so much time afterwards editing and doing whatever that,
Yeah.
you know, unless they really, like, I don't know. And then you have to get ready for the next day. So,
Well, that's my thing is the next day is
you
like,
know,
Are you guiding too?
Yeah.
Are you
yeah,
guiding too?
yeah. So it's just like you don't have time to do all that stuff.
my thing isn't like the day of, it's the night before at 8:00 when I'm making sandwiches and I'm
Right.
getting the water bottles out of the boat,
Yeah, you're getting your walk ready for the next day. What we're
hosing it down.
I mean,
That's
our guide day doesn't end with the client.
yeah,
does it?
at the handshake at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if like, God forbid, like this is the reason I don't go over the Madison, the guide, is that I have to wash my boat completely before I put it in the Yellowstone River.
Yeah.
So we're not giving like sexually transmitted diseases to watersheds, you know. I don't want to be known as the guy who gave the Yellowstone herpes.
Are we
you know?
doing the other?
Yeah, let's do the comparadon to get through the set. And now you got the whole life cycle of the mayfly.
There you go.
Yeah, including 2 emergers, 1 lower, 1 higher on the water, and a cripple. You know, or the other one's more of a cripple, and then you'll have done.
The last one we did. How high does it set up?
That one the bottom should be
right.
the bottom
It's
of the
like a
bin.
cripple, right?
Right. It should be. I think it should be underwater or laying on its side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have some micro fibbits. Those today.
Microfibbits. Like paintbrush ends.
Yes. Exactly right.
I've never tied one of those in.
I have. Yeah, I'm tying these flies for England, and they're the Danica, and they need to be black. And I was like downstairs because I'm gonna start painting the basement. And so like, hey, look, with this comparadon, you can also use Zelon on the back as a shuck. Okay.
Okay.
So Craig Matthews tied the Sparkle Dun, and that's just a comparadon with Zelon on the back.
Mm-hmm. Does one work better than the
I
other?
don't know. I wish I knew the answer to that. I respect
have to
Craig
test it
Matthews
out. Mm-hmm.
so much that I would say it probably does. Although
Elon versus what?
just like a microfibbit or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
sorry.
if you want, I'll show you how to do upright or divided tails on this one. So make a little ball at the end. 1, 2,
Oh, yeah.
3, 4, 5, 7. Just like a little ball there, right? And then take the fibers. I'm gonna take 1 or 2 of these out. I grabbed a whole bunch. Like this, lay it down over the top, about that much. Lay it down over the top, stick it out the back, and then as I tighten this down, behind that ball, it should spread them out a little bit. See that? Whoa, shit. God damn it.
Here's your fibbits right there.
Let me just quick grab some more here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go like this. Right like that. I got the little ball on there. Okay, so now it's spreading a little bit. Another one to lock it down underneath. Oh, they can't. And then just pull them out a little bit on either side of the ball.
Just pull on it, right?
Yep. I should spread them out. It's not doing it for me. Hold on.
Well, you could use this stuff too, probably, couldn't you?
The Zelon? Yeah, Coke de Leon. But I think this is a little stiffer, and I'll keep it a little bit higher on the water.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Because this we're trying not to have the tail drop in, right?
Correct. We want this one flush on the surface. I'm just going to take all that out of there like that. I got a little split tail there to kind of distribute the weight. And then I'll just come in here and I'm just going to chub this up a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Like so. Actually, you should be tying the Comparadon wing in first. I started incorrectly there.
Oh, okay. Before we put
Yeah, the wing first. I'll put this on here like this. 1, 2, 3. And then I cut it at a 45-degree angle, just like the old days, like this. And then all the way back down. 1, 2, 3. It makes a nice little taper.
So thread over a ramp.
Yep, thread over a ramp, right? And then just like this all the way down, back up. And just start building your body up, one wrap right next to the other. You heard me say that yesterday. Okay, back down. Now I only go 2/3 down, and then I come back up, and you see I'm building a taper. Good.
So you said you would put this wing in before you put the tail in?
Yeah,
Really?
I would. Yep, I'd come underneath here and make some wraps like that. It's starting to stand up now. And what helps this is, excuse me, is a little bit of dubbing. We'll just use this, or you can use the spiky stuff as well. But
no palmered.
nope, this is gonna sit flush on there. And now I come in here and I just start to pull this down and apart like this. And I'll try to, you got a little stem in there. A couple little stems in there. And then like this. Just like that.
So is it the forward or back?
Should be straight up.
Straight up.
Straight
Okay.
up and like fanned
Fanned out,
like this.
right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine's not as fanned out as I like them. So I'll just work it a little bit. So this was originally tied with deer hair. And deer hair moves for you a little bit better than CDC will.
But it doesn't float quite as good, does it?
Well, especially on the small flies, it gets really bulky as well.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hairy.
No, he's getting picky like McPhail is.
Yeah, I love McPhail.
I mean, he's just such a perfectionist. It's
like how that guy puts materials on flies is, to me. Can I borrow my whip finisher?
no.
God damn it. Oh. Oh, there.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I do too. Especially when you're teaching.
You like I say, not like I do.
The exception makes the rule. That's what my dad used to say. Exception makes the rule. Okay.
You know, I wonder if you ribbed this with one of these.
Oh, it'd be kind of cool, yeah. Give you a little flash. I'm just gonna clean this up with some of the nose hairs once I get this tied off like a normal human being. There we go.
What do you want to teach us next time?
I don't care. I was thinking about like what would be kind of cool to what's coming up. It'll give me a week to kind of do the research and go through my notebooks and patterns, but so there's a couple stems in there, which we've already determined that we do not like. But this one will sit real flat.
What's this little tube for?
Oh, that's just to protect, because they're brand new. It came with it. I kind of like it, and I kept it on
You
there.
didn't cut a lot of
Oh,
wire
your
with it,
scissors,
yeah.
you mean? Yeah,
I haven't cut a lot of wire with these yet.
I cut wire at the very, crux up here, so it doesn't, the tips don't.
Yeah, these ones are about ready to go to the wire
Yeah, they get
pile.
after
Once they
about
get
2
wire.
years, they get relegated to. And I dropped the last pair I had, and I really like these scissors. They fit in my hand well. And I dropped the other pair I had on a cement floor, and it bent the tips. I was like, God damn it!
Yeah.
All right, so there's a comparative.
Yeah, nice. Nice, that's beautiful.
Here's
boy.
Fibbits.
Is that the same?
It's really close to the shuttlecock. Shuttlecock should be leaned forward like that a little bit.
Beautiful hook.
And this one should lift.
Beautiful.
You
Can
can
we
feel
try
those.
that one or no?
Yeah, you want to? Yeah.
I don't care.
Got plenty of
I
time.
watched you.
We got plenty of time. All these are variations on the same thing we've been doing, right?
yeah.
We're just adjusting the angle of the fly, the coverage in the water, how it's so to adjust how the fly sits on the water,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, there's the.
So one skill does a bunch of things. One hand does two things.
So you used more than 2 Fibbits. You used
I grabbed a bunch. Yeah, I don't get county.
on Fibbits.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I like this will sit down. It won't sit. It'll sit a little deeper in the water just because the wings are V'd a little bit, but they're not. The key is to get them sideways, like that. So I'm going to tie some of these in 16 because I'm going to England, and the Baetis there are the olives there are size 16. Should be a nice, pleasant change.
Probably should have a variety anyway, right?
Yeah.
So is your wife going with you?
She's meeting me the week after. I'm fishing for 5 days, and then she's meeting me on day 7. And then we're gonna go to Wales and tour Wales,
Oh, wow.
and then we're gonna come home. We're gonna get after it.
How long are you touring Wales for?
Just that we're gonna be there a week, and this will be the first time we've taken our daughter out of to an international destination.
Well, that's cool.
She's 12. She can now appreciate. We'll see if she can, but she will appreciate in time.
Is she excited? Is your wife and daughter excited or no?
Yeah, we were booking tours and hotels this weekend.
So you just put these CDCs in just.
I cup them so they look like they're spooning a little bit, the tips, right?
So wrap over the
Yep.
micro up to the 1/3, or
Yeah, to the 1/3, and then you can do it either way. Typically, traditionally, the way a comparative is tied is you tie in the wings first, then you work back to the tail. But you can do it the other way
yeah.
too.
Yeah, you should listen to you the first time.
Yeah, I know. I didn't do it.
I didn't.
what you did.
The exception makes the rule. You know.
Is that CDC?
Here, let's get you some. Where's right here? And so,
So just like the shuttlecock.
just like the shuttlecock, but we don't want that shuttlecock to be leaning forward. We want this to stand straight up, and what that's going to do is force the fly to sit more flat in the water.
Right, so we'll tie it in like we did the shuttlecock, cut it at a 45,
Right.
ramp it, right?
Right. Make a thread base.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Then pull it back strongly and use a little bit of dubbing in front there to pop that thing
Push
straight
that
up.
up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
So when does your guys' guide season start?
Well, it'll start in earnest when I get back from England within a couple days, but I'm hoping to pick some up here in May, and July is when it really kind of sets in.
So,
And a big breath. Hold your breath. When is runoff going to end?
right. Yeah.
And I keep telling the staff. I keep saying, at least here, is that like, hey, look, you don't have to tell them that runoff is going to blow things up and it may not be ready. You can say, we have runoff that typically ends somewhere around the first week to 10 days of July. It can be different, but we also have the Firehole River an hour and 45 minutes to the south of us in the park, and we have the Spring Creeks. And then they're like, why don't we just go over to the Lower Madison? And I'm like, because the Lower Madison sucks, right? It's not fun to go to.
It gets busy.
It gets really busy, and if you're not on the water by 6 in the morning there.
Just because it's on the internet everywhere doesn't mean it's going to be great.
Well, then it's just so close to Bozeman, and everybody has runoff issues unless you work on the Bighorn.
Right.
And even then, they can release water out of those dams, that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Missouri, and I mean, if I'm going to drive over to the Upper Madison, why don't I just drive to the Missouri? It's the same distance,
Where did I fish? Oh, I fished Big Spring this fall.
Man, up in Lewistown?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was fun.
My friend is from Lewistown. His name's Mark Anderson. He's a professor of economics at MSU.
Yeah.
He grew up there.
There was nobody fishing it.
I know.
It was gorgeous. It was October, I think it was.
Everybody was bird hunting.
Yeah, everybody was. Yeah, there's just a couple of guys walking along
Yeah.
the river shooting at roosters.
Yeah.
But it was like, I
Yeah.
took my wife there. She liked it because
It's quiet.
it's quiet and it's easy wading and
Yeah. It's nice that your wife likes
It's
to
kind of
fish.
tough fishing. Was it tough fishing or no?
Not
I
really.
didn't think so.
Really? Huh.
They were.
They were rising pretty good for you?
Nah, we were nymphing mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some fish one day, rising some blue wing olives, and I got my wife close enough that she made a decent cast and took one. So
Awesome.
it was fun.
Strong
cool.
work. Sign him up. Guide number 45272. Yeah. I've always wanted to go up, and he keeps telling me we need to go. He likes to fish Stillwater. His dad was a Stillwater fisherman, and he likes that Martindale's Lake. He showed me a picture of a 25-inch brown trout he caught out of there.
Martinsdale?
Yeah,
Recently?
2 years ago.
Holy moly.
And then his dad used to so pull that back. There you go. Yeah, pull it back a little bit more.
Pull this head back a
Yeah, the
little bit.
wing. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Up there.
Yeah, now you can trim it too then.
Okay, a little bit of dubbing.
A little bit of that. Use the hair a little bit.
I'm using gray, but I'm doing olive body.
Yeah, gray. To be honest with you, gray is the color in the fall. In a size 2022, gray. The Baetis is gray.
But they're olive. Well, what if I do both colors?
Yeah, why not? Let her rip.
Hey, you know,
You don't know unless you try, right?
yeah. Well,
I mean,
you could do the whole thing, but I'm gonna do gray body and a.
yeah.
Do-
The gray bodied one, like in the fall, like you can get away with a size 20 Adams on that Baetis.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I was at Nelson's. First time I went to Nelson's was in like late October, and I'm like, I'm creeping out on those peninsulas, and I see this pot of fish, and there's a fish in there rising. That it's it's a big fish, right? It's a 20-inch fish, and they were like, all you need is a size 22 Adams, right? And I'm out there, and I'm going over the top of it, and the fish is coming up and looking at it, and 3 times it eats it, and I pull it right out of its mouth. And I walked out, and Tucker was walking down with clients. And I was like this. I didn't really realize, I didn't really know Tucker that well. This was probably 2016. And I go like this, like, I have my hat off, and I'm straight like this. I go, there is an ginormous fish at the end of this peninsula eating, and I cannot hook him, And I walked past him, and he's just, I think he probably was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I went back later with a streamer and got it to take, but it doesn't count.
Oh my god!
It counts.
Holy moly!
I fish streamers a lot in the Spring Creeks, small streamers like size 12, size 10. And if it's a slow day and like you need to put a fish on for a client, I'm not saying it's every time, but you can get a fish to come in and eat a sparkle minnow pretty well there.
I'm not a good streamer fisherman.
It's
either.
not that.
It's like
All you gotta do is get it out there and then strip it back. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. Give it some motion. Let me show you.
Hey, I don't think this looks too damn bad.
I think it looks great. Geez, Sam, that looks really good.
What do you think?
Love it.
With the
That's
blue
gonna
color?
sit perfectly in the water, right? And it's gonna like, this is what they're gonna see coming over the top. of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And it looks like legs, too.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually like the dual colored. But does the color make a huge difference, Jan, do you think?
I think it makes a difference at the end of the line. Much more important size and shape and drift.
Then at the end of the line, what do you mean by end of the line?
Like-
Here's your CDC.
Like if I were to get real fussy, color is the last thing at the end of my algorithm that I worry about.
Right, yeah. Like,
Where was that one? That was this year.
Jeez, I don't get to often sit around and listen to two guys discuss what's
Yeah.
important to them about flies.
Squeezing blood from a turnip. That's what my dad would say. You're squeezing blood from a turnip, Dave.
Yeah. Alright, so dubbing in front of the.
Yes, and that's what props it up.
but you notice I'm listening to Jan because everybody knows stuff that you don't.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, hey, I learned from everybody.
I'm learning a ton
Everybody's got
from him,
something to
you know?
learn from
We
the
should
Yeah,
always be learning every
I don't
single
have-
time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you learn patience.
Yeah, and
You know what I
sharing
mean?
and sharing the info is really,
Oh yeah, so here's a
really cool.
here's a fish that that chased a streamer at Nelson's right at the end of the pond in the big circle area before it goes over the little ripple.
Yeah.
It chased it like 18 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the beautiful?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It came out from one of those floating reed mats, and it just went like that.
It's like, I'm so
Holy
tired of
crap.
eating 22.
I know.
I want a cheeseburger.
Are you using like 4X on a sparkle minnow?
Oh, I actually
3X?
use like 3X, 2X fluorocarbon,
Yeah.
and I just chop back my leader. And because the streamers I use are not big and they're not heavily weighted,
Yeah. Well, you can in there, right?
right? You're gonna be on the ground every time.
So your sparkle minnow, is it just like it's olive sparkle minnow?
Olive, dark olive with like a light olive tail, layered. Then
Beaded?
a little Estes underneath, and then I put like a gold bead on it, and then olive Rene Puglisi or what is Enzo Puglisi that brush material over the top. I tie it in black and green.
Sounds like you got. I've been using a little woolly booger.
Yeah.
You know that's olive. You
Yeah.
know? And I've been doing, and it has some flash on it. You know, some crystal flash and flash on the side. You
Yeah.
know? And it's working pretty good for me.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know.
Let me see if I can
You
find
know,
that picture.
and I think everybody uses really huge.
No, I hate that.
Huge.
Nobody wants to cast that all day.
Yeah, I'm like and these little flies, these little.
They do just fine.
Were great.
My son likes to chuck
Yeah.
streamers.
The articulated on the 7-weight rod with the
Yeah.
sink tip line.
He's funny. He catches big fish.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
But you exclude a lot of 16-inch fish with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the picture of the sparkle minnows I tie. We could do sparkle minnows one week if you wanted. Well, that'll be a little boring.
Tying one of your sparkle minnows just to get the pattern.
No, I don't think I got enough CDC in
Let's see.
there and that stuff.
I don't.
Oh yeah, it's a little tall, but you can trim that.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, no, Dave, all you really have to do is trim that down
Yeah.
about by 1/3, and it'll be fine.
I
It'll be
doubled
great.
over I tied in my tip, and then I doubled it over and the back end, and then tied that in too, and that bushied it up. So I did the middle of, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I did.
That's very nice.
If the
That
tip,
looks great.
if the tip was like this, and then I doubled this over, and then I just cut out the stem.
Yeah. That came out.
That
very
bush.
good.
Thank you.
Here they are. So that's all the bigger they are, right? And then here's,
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Here
I'm
is,
like using a little woolly booger.
here, look, here's for reference, that's the size of this, right? There's a little Wapsi container in there.
Oh my gosh, those are tiny.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I catch a lot of fish between 16 and 20 inches on those things.
Oh yeah.
And like, my thing is like, if you're gonna throw a 6 to 7 inch articulated streamer, first of all, I don't want that thing anywhere near my face. Second of all, well, just, you know, Sam, I'll just send you the picture if you want.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Is that and the second one is like, you're gonna exclude a lot of fish on your fishing. If like, I want to catch some fish, I mean, like, I don't care if they're big or small. I'm from Wisconsin, man. I was happy catching 12 to 15 inch fish, and I was like patting myself on the back. I still love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah. 100%.
and like, I just think we get really kind of too focused. Like, I got a friend who like, he's on the hunt for the 24 inch fish, and I'm like, well, how's it going?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I didn't get anything today. I'm like, yeah, I caught like 6 fish today. It was good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I had him in the front of.
Don't most of your clients? I mean, that's what.
Oh, they couldn't
want.
cast that rig.
Yeah.
That seven weight with the sig tip and.
But do you find most of your clients that come out are the people that do they like to just catch fish, or do you get that many people that come out with an expectation?
I'm
that
still
they're gonna-
low man on the totem pole. Like I get the people who like sometimes have never fished or
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm just like want to show
He's
them.
not
They,
low man on the totem pole at
like
all.
they want to catch fish. Everybody wants to catch fish when you go fishing, right?
Yeah.
But I would say 80% of my clients understand that like this is their first or second time, and like, you know, like thank God for whitefish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're not trophy.
I do
hardly
Well, I
ever
just wonder what the
hunt.
public
Right.
is. You know what
Yeah.
what your client.
The guy
is
who
like.
wanted his picture, who wanted me to film him, he was pretty focused on catching
Catching
big
big
fish.
fish.
And this friend of mine, I'm going to send this to you right now, Sam, if you want.
And that's hard to do, but if you're in a trophy lake,
Well,
it's pretty easy to do.
it can be.
like
Or one
Burns.
of these places you have to pay to play.
Yeah.
Well, even like the spring creeks, at least you know they're there. You know, like when you can see the fish and you can see them rising, at least you know you're in the game, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the funny thing is like at the end of the day, like I don't start out with a streamer. I start out with the knit midge rigs and dry flies, and we kind of do that traditional. Like if it's going slow, let me tell you something. About 2 PM, I'm like, let's try something different. Snip. I cut back that 6X leader to about this far, and then I add 2X tippet to it, and I tie a loop on the end, and we just like with like 5 feet of line, and we just. I said every 10 feet down the bank. Boom, and like the fishing, what's really fun about the spring creeks it's like you see a lot of fish chasing. Yeah. Even on the big Yellowstone, like I had this friend of mine who's like obsessed with this 24-inch fish, and he was like, all right, so I was guiding him, and I was part of a group. Me, Bolton, were you on that group? I don't know. But in any event, I said like, hey, why don't you just try the little Kim? It's a smaller fly, and within like 10 casts, he had put on 16 fish, 16-inch fish, 16-inch fish, 15, 17, 18, and then no 24-inch fish, but he had 5, 6 fish in the boat, and he was like, oh, I'm surprised, like, well, the little Kim, I've never really thought about that. Like, he's throwing like this big thing from Alaska and like Russia, and I'm like, dude, that is so boring to throw all day. Like, don't you want to like work the streamer? Like, I taught him how to cast and then like twitch the streamer downstream, or like throw a loop downstream to speed it up and like zip the fly along the front of the bank or whatever. And I was like, this is all shit they were doing in the 50s. Colonel Joe Bates wrote a book called streamers and how to fish them. It was like 1956. He was like a contemporary of Carrie Stevens, and they all fished things on like 9-foot lines, and they had to like manipulate the line with men's to get the streamer to swim through different things. And I was like, well, we can still do that. We don't have to like. I have a sink tip line at home, fast sinking line, and every time I put it on my reel, I'm like, I could do this for like 2 hours, and then I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you throw on one of those like heavily weighted things, and then God knows what it's doing in the air as it's coming around you. And I have caught some fish on them, right? I've caught some fish out behind the shop here, up against that big wall face. But for the most part, I don't find that enjoyable. I'll do it and I enjoy it when I do it. But like if I had my choice, I would rather use a smaller streamer, a target, the areas, then really like strategically swim the bait through it. Or am I doing slow retrieve? Am I doing fleeing bait fish? Am I doing downstream? Am I dredging it or whatever? I'd rather do that than just like the same old thing. I mean, like those sparkle minnows, I even put them underneath an indicator.
So that sparkle minnow that I was looking at there has a 1 millimeter bead on it?
No.
No. Okay.
The container for size.
I was thinking the same
All right,
thing.
sorry about that. No,
Yeah,
that is like a size 10, size 12 hook.
Okay.
Okay, and it has appropriately sized.
Yeah.
So maybe
on it.
2.5 millimeter.
Yeah.
And a tungsten. Some are gold, just some are even plastic beaded because like I want them within 6 to 8 inches. And that's what's exciting in the spring creeks is you take one of those unweighted ones or one with a lightweight, and then you cast it to the bank and you strip it this way and you just watch fish go like this at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had it.
I'm gonna be trying this myself.
It is my day saver. Like if I have somebody who's not, because you know how it can get there. It's not.
Oh, there's no hatch.
There's nothing going on. It's the middle of summer.
Yeah.
The minute the sun gets down off the water a little bit, I'm like, streamer time. And I've taken some shit from Rick Willem down in Anglers West. He's a good guy. He and I get along, but he's like, that's blasphemous. I'm like, what's blasphemous is not catching a fish. You paid a guide for the day, you know. And so I want people to go home and typically the fish you do catch are a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
They're just, you know.
I tied last year what is it? Who's the Euro-nymphing kid? Oh, I can't think of it.
Brewer?
No. I mean of the. Brewer. Yeah, Brewer's. He does. Didn't Evan do a lot of Euro-nymphing?
No, Evan was really into the big streamer thing. Him and James, yeah.
I guess Brewer did Euro-nymph.
He did.
I did talk to him about that.
I bought a Euro-nymph rig.
Yeah. Oh, it's fun. I've done that for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Is Euro-nymphing. But I did a little bead-headed, weighted. Micro pine squirrel thing. Yeah. Jig that thing around.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that works pretty good.
Dave Whitlock's red squirrel nymph.
Yeah, and it's something like that. It's about
I know what you're talking about.
Sinks.
It's got a tail. It's got
just a sculpin pattern essentially in different colors. But that works pretty good. Where do we fish?
I've Euro nymph the spring creeks too.
Yeah.
You gotta find the fast water. But like I haven't really I would say I haven't mastered anything yet. I haven't, but with the Euro nymphing, I'm still learning a lot about it, right? But I've had like 3 days where it's like you vacuum the bottom of the river. Like you whoa, you know, and it's like 12-foot long rod, 3-weight rod. Good fun.
What I forget what Euro nymphing is.
Euro nymphing is tight line or what they call contact nymphing, right? So it's heavily weighted.
And
you're just tight lining it.
Tight lining.
You're not casting anything. You're just chuck and duck. That's what we used to call it in Vermont, because in Vermont, though, the woodchucks in Vermont, they would they'd have a rig where it was a slinky weight. You know what a slinky weight is? That's where they like take the core out of a paracord. They seal up one end, and they just stuff it with split shot. Yeah, exactly. And it
Drop
goes
shots.
exactly. It's drop shot.
The weight's on the bottom of the
Correct.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing is you like, and old bait fishermen fish this way too. They put on a lot of weight and they put their worm or minnow down and they go tick, 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 tick. And then when they get the pause, they set. Yeah.
So have you tried Euro nymphing with a indicator? With a yarn indicator?
You know, I just have the cider.
You just use a cider?
Yeah, just use the cider. And when the cider goes like this or, you know, then I just set.
Yeah. I almost like a yarn indicator because I can fish a little bit farther away from me than with just the cider there in there. But so what size leader are you using?
It depends on how deep the water is.
Right.
I think that's
length, I mean diameter. So you're using one piece of fluorocarbon from your cider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's usually 6X.
6X.
Because that's what they say.
Wow,
Right?
you were fishing light. That's pretty good.
But what they say is the diameter matters, right? It makes it sink faster. Smaller diameter makes it sink faster. And the reason the Perdigon or this thing is very no dressing on it is because you don't want anything holding it up. You want it to go like bonk. Right?
See, I'm learning all kinds of things.
I got books
So
on
the
that.
nymphs I tie, that's what I tie mostly is all Perdigon.
Yeah, they're great.
Stuff like that.
So much fun, and like they
It's
do
all
really
about
well.
the depth of the water that it goes
tell you
down
what,
and how fast it sinks.
As a dropper underneath a chubby, a Perdigon nymph is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I have
you
I have not used a lot of Perdigons because I'm like, I've used, but they look so terrible. Like how can
They're flashy. Yeah, a lot of them
they
are
look,
flashy.
But this makes sense because you got the profile, you got it.
This thing-
Presentation.
and they're
It
designed-
gets you down to the bottom faster.
When you
than can get.
put it underneath the chubby, you know that it's just hanging there like this.
Right.
It's not back here.
Right.
It is right underneath it. And so I tie them too. I tie them and I put the little pink thing around the collar, and I do this, and I do everything that like I'm not here to change the rules, but like there are times I look at it and I go,
That doesn't look like anything.
I like this, Dave. Sometimes I go, well, at least it's not a San Juan worm,
Right.
You know?
At the Sweetwater Fly Shop.
Candy for
fly
fly tiers to look at.
But this thing,
Pretty jewelry.
that thing was like crushed it for me this year, and I just
We're almost done.
I literally like.
Yeah.
I literally
No, I'll
like
tell
tied
you what
a
the
dozen of them,
thing
and I've got like 7 of them left in my boxes.
Yeah. Well, last year before the flood there down at Poor Man's Depew.
Yeah.
I mean, oh man, you could catch some fish down there.
Oh, yeah.
This year has been totally different. It's been,
I wonder what's gonna happen there.
I don't know.
Is that where the pipe comes out?
Yeah. Poor Man's Pews. I love
What?
that name.
I didn't know that it was called that. What's the difference this year?
Well, there's no more nice long channel along there.
Yeah, it's all been kind of jacked
I
up.
could fish that thing all winter long and pull out
Fish.
18, 19-inch fish out of there all winter long.
Oh yeah.
You're on nymphing. But
And
on
now you
nymphing,
don't have the run because it ate it out or something.
It did.
Yeah, and it pushed a big
there's-
rock bar up against it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can we
It's
help
way
you out
different.
here with?
Nothing. We'll just put the supplies and stuff in this little box here, and then I'll just come and clean it up tomorrow. Well, I can't do it tomorrow, so I'll do it tonight. But
I'll put your deal here.
yeah, right. And so I'll just take all this stuff down.
And
There's
this,
not really much to it.
here. Thank you, Jan. This is awesome.
thank
This
you
is so
very
much
much.
fun.
Oh, I enjoy doing it. We just got to figure out what we want to do next week.
I could keep practicing my dry flies.
Well, I mean, like to me, like I tell you, like 90. I would say 90% of what I tie are nymphs.
Yeah.
'Cause that's just money. It's just money for
I
Absolutely.
day in, day out. The Yellowstone River is a nymphing river, plain and simple.
Absolutely.
And to be honest with you, day in and day out, so are the spring creeks. There are windows of time when it has an abundance of dry fly activity, but the vast majority of it is Nymphing midges.
I've got a Sammy special I'd share, a caddis that,
Yeah. You know,
Really
save
good.
them, trade them.
huh?
Save them, trade them. You've given me one. I got one at home somewhere.
Huh?
I've
Yeah.
got one at home.
Oh, yeah.
You gave me one the last time we were. Not last
Oh,
time.
I did?
Yeah.
The caddis one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But hey, like that, you know, that's what this thing could be too, is a forum for like bring a cool fly and share with the group what
Yeah,
you like.
this is the secret. You know.
The secret, top secret.
You know, when you tell clients though, you have confidence in something.
Oh yeah.
Right away, their confidence go. It's
Oh, yeah.
psychology. So, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna, you know. And then sometimes, like, I know that we're gonna catch one, and I'm like, tell this. I took a friend fishing, and he'd never fly fished. I said, well, you know, we're gonna see if we can
take
get a
this one
fish
with
to
me.
bite, right? You know.
You take
Sure.
one. Yeah, absolutely. I get ton of it.
And and I take them out and I, you know, give them all, you know, a little lesson, and then we float 50 yards down the river and he catches an 18-inch brown.
Yeah.
He's like floored. His day is made, you know.
Right.
And then on it's gravy, and that's fun.
Getting
You know.
the skunk out of the boat.
Yeah, definitely.
Number one, it's the number one thing I think about when I get in the boat is like, where can I go to immediately catch a fish
Yeah,
and get
as
the skunk
soon
out
as
of
they
the
get
boat?
some confidence, right?
Right. Well, you know, Evan used to tell people all you need is one fly you have a lot of confidence in. And that's absolutely true. And so he told this to a girl that he was dating. Her name was Kate. And Kate worked for a friend of mine at FFI. He goes, Jan, Kate has always wanted to fish. This girl who worked for me, I didn't know she was dating Evan at the time. Really wants to fish there, but doesn't know anything when you take her. So I took her, and I you know that little red and the double beaded red and black thing that I tied.
Yeah.
I put one of those on her on a midge. She caught a bunch of fish that day. She was happy as a lark. She then subsequently takes advice from Evan. Questionable intelligence. But she takes advice from where he told her, he goes, all you need is one fly you have confidence in. And she put that black and red thing on and like started banging fish all over Montana with it and sending me photos. I'm like, I got this on your fish, your fly. And so I tied her a dozen. I gave them to her. She's a good kid. And then I'm guiding with this girl named Emily Strasser, and she's like, she goes, I think I met you before, and I'm like, I would know if I met you before. Emily's very attractive. She's a very pretty girl,
Right.
Very good guide too, fishing guide. In fact, Hardy took pictures of her for their.
For their
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of that going on.
Yeah,
Chicks with sticks.
Yeah.
Tubes and tubes, yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
she goes, hold on a second. Do you know Kate Richardson? I'm like, yeah, I fished with her over here. She's like, oh my God. She's been fishing your fly all over Montana. She's like, do you see this picture? I'm like, yeah, she sent it to me. She's like, that's you?
Nice.
She's become a good friend. She's a real, I think that like a lot of because she is a very attractive young woman. She's very smart too. What she does, she guides all day and then she does bookkeeping at night. She's got a bookkeeping service and she's got 4 or 5 clients that she does their books for them. She's smart, real smart. And she doesn't like the cold, so she goes to like the Baja Peninsula she's young, she can do that. I remember those days. And she can do all her work from her van or whatever. And she's really quite a good guide. And on the Spring Creeks, I see a lot of guys think they're hot shit, and then they go guiding with Emily, and she leaves them in the dust. I'm just like, I gotta watch out for you. You're gonna destroy my ego. All right.
Exactly.
Was she born here?
No, she's Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah. But she is like, she's a heron on the Spring Creeks. Like, she spots fish. She's got really good vision. And I'm like, oh, crap. I gotta go with Emily today.
Oh, you mean when you're a guy? And
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
a client,
When your client catches 20 and you catch 2,
Zero.
it's like, ooh, you know, let's not fish with him anymore. You know, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's a
Her
lot
and
of pressure.
Her and I guided a trip in the park one day, and
So do you guys have permission to guide in the park too?
yeah, you got to get a CUA. You got to be on a commercial use authorization. And so I'm on the one here and at Nelson's, and
Do they limit though how many guides can guide in the park or no?
I don't know if they do or not.
But they do in the national forest, right?
Yeah, getting one of those national forest permits is impossible. Impossible.
Because it was. I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Go
it's
ahead. It's like.
But I watched
like last year, right?
Yeah.
They let the guides guide in the national forest because the park was closed, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
I went up to Mill Creek and there's like 3 sage
Cars.
lodge
Yeah.
vehicles up there, and I'm
I
like,
was
all
not
these
aware
guys
of that.
out there, and I'm like, where are all you guys? And I couldn't figure it out. I started asking around, and it was like, oh yeah, the guides this year, the national forest, because of just the economic down.
Well, I've always wanted to guide the upper Yellowstone between Gardner and Yankee Jim. I wanted to, for me, if I left the valley.
Have you been up there since the scrounged the big flood?
I haven't. No, I just
It looks bad.
It's destabilized it up there. I know the sheriff told me that he is concerned about 3 other homes this year that didn't get taken out in the last one, but now everything is destabilized and they're on the
I
precipice of
saw a
trouble.
canoe folded in half.
Yeah, I love that. We always point it out.
30 foot up.
Yeah, I know.
Like, holy crap! And I'm like, that water is. I mean, I would have liked to guide before, but right now, I'm not for sure that's going to be good fishing.
So the people I know that guide up there tell me it is the most consistent dry fly fishing on the Yellowstone up there.
For cutthroats.
For cutthroats,
Oh, yeah.
and they're smaller. They're not like
Yeah.
you're not going to get into like that 16 to 20 inch rainbows that you get between.
But you have to know what you're doing up there too. 'cause
I think
there's
so,
a lot
too.
of messy water. I mean, a lot of
It goes
spots you
like
can get.
thin and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, I used to. I floated it once from Brogan's to the mouth to the top of Yankee.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad.
No.
I mean, it was far, but that's prior to the flood.
Right.
So
I go up there in the fall a lot, and I like to swing. I play around with a 2-handed rod once in a while, and I like to go do that up there.
Try to get a
there's
big
a lot
fish.
of water to cover up there.
Yeah, there
It's a
is.
good place to.
Yeah. I just drive because my family goes we go to the park, and it's one of the reasons we moved here.
Yeah.
And so we like to drive around. I'm always like, you got to drive Vicky down. It's because I'm like, peel up the window.
Yeah.
That looks like a good spot. Go in here, you know what I mean?
Well, thanks, guys.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you very much.
So how do I turn this?
Appreciate it. I'll work on my dry fly.
Me too.
No, but you know what I like about your teaching style though is you start from the nymph and we essentially use the same technique through the whole
Repetition.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a lot easier for me to remember
Right.
Yeah.
than going back to a book and by just having that progression.
So what I hope to give you at the end of all this is that you have a quiver of arrows that you can mix and match on any fly, on any size, and for any body of water. Right? If you want to know what the stuff looks like, just turn rocks. Go take a look at them. The main guides used to put out minnow traps, and that's how they would design their streamers. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like today I thought would be like the Baetis. One of the things I really like about the Baetis pattern is the Baet pattern, the Baet abdomen, and now you got something to build on, right? And if you can do the same thing with the yellow one for a PMD, you can do the same one for March Brown, right?
Yeah.
The brown one, it looks awesome on a spinner. Rusty, yellow or green, right? So I remember like going to a couple of fly tying things and then going, we're gonna tie a woolly bugger. And you tie a woolly bugger and like, we're gonna try a parachute. And it was like not cohesive.
Yeah. To go from a woolly bugger to tying it.
Now we're gonna do hares here
That's
now.
me. That's me.
So it's
like, this is really good.
Yeah.
so So I would go out, and then that dominated my thinking from 21 to 28, where I'd go like, I want to tie a pattern, and I go buy all the stuff for the pattern, if I could find it, right? And then I'd have this thing. I'm like, well, what else am I going to use it for?
Yeah.
Right? And then I got a little bit more matchy hatchy, and then I was like, okay, if I can do that on that, then why can't I use that, right? And so like, now you know how to use Baetis. You can tie them in. You already know how to tie them in the tail. You probably tie a Prince nymph or something.
Yeah.
Tie them in his antenna too. They look great. You know, buy it. Now you know how to use it for a body, and then you learned three different wings tonight.
Yeah.
Right. All using CDC.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do. I'll always try to do that. So like, you'll walk away from here and you'll know how to use it in other situations.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That's how I like to learn too.
No, it was very helpful. Yes, appreciate it a lot.
And then you like learn materials, and then over time you go like, if I use it on too big a hook, it doesn't look as good. It's a bitch to put on, or it doesn't fit. So now I just use these for 16 and less. And that's what I do with Baet bodies.
Yeah.
Really, you can't really use them above 16. At least I haven't figured out how to.
Yeah.
Because they're just too short.
Depends because my turkey buyouts are really long.
Yeah, I'd like some of those.
I've got tons of turkey stuff, so I'll bring it to you.
Yeah, because I want to tie a spinner with one, but that spinner's got to be a 12 or maybe even a 10.
I think you could do one for a Baetis with turkey.
Yeah,
for sure.
Baetis
for bigger flies.
So I'm just trying to think what we can do next, and like I think just different colors adds a different layer, right? I
think maybe you did Baetis, so maybe we go to a different bug.
Sure.
Potentially. Unless you have more Baetis stuff to do.
No, I don't. I think like you guys already know how to use dubbing, so you could do the exact same patterns with dubbing.
Right.
You could do the exact same patterns with a quill. You could do the exact same patterns with even a piece of foam, if you could trim it short enough and just wrap it up. What do you want to do? Because if you want me to do bugs, I'll stick on bugs. Or if you want me to say like, hey, we want to do soft hackles, and I'll show you like 5 soft hackle flies that I use.
I like fishing soft tackle.
I do a lot of soft tackle stuff, and I do CDC soft tackle.
I do too.
And
But I was fortunate enough to shoot a number of Grace partridges this year. So, and then my friend Mark, who's a falconer, killed one with a falcon. He gave me a bunch of feathers from that.
What kind of partridge?
Grace partridge or the Huns?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I killed one, and I have one whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like using CDC for soft tackle a lot.
I usually give the house grouse at my house a stay of execution, just so I can train the dogs with them. This year they were out there, and like I hadn't gotten one yet, and I was like, all right, grab shotgun. The dog goes on point. I run out in the back lawn. Up they go, bang, bang. Credit goes up, picks the thing up.
House grouse. What's a house grouse?
House grouse are. So I call them house grouse because where I grew up it was rough grouse, right?
Yeah.
We had rough grouse around our house that I would use to train the dogs, and if I shot them, they wouldn't be there to train the dogs. So I call them house grouse because they hang around the house within 40 acres of my house, and I give them a stay of execution typically because.
Okay, rough grouse or are they spruce grouse?
No. The ones. So this is back in Wisconsin.
Oh, right. Okay.
But now I have Huns in my back lawn. I just call them the house grouse, and they rhymes.
Okay.
And or the house Huns, I guess we could use alliteration.
Stay of execution,
I give them a stay of execution because they're more valuable to me as training opportunities for. I have a young dog and I have a seasoned dog, and so Greta needs laps on Huns. They don't smell that much, and the young one needs to know how to flush them up and what they are. And
what kind of dog?
I have a German Shorthair. Our friend George came out of one of George Anderson's dogs. And this winter, my wife wanted a black lab, and so she went and found a black lab, and so now I'm training a black lab again.
So you got a pointer and a flush dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had the flush dogs for 20 years. Raised 3 of them. One we got titled, and I got this German Shorthair. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. You're not out there every night, back, doing the things. They just naturally have it wired. She's like, I want a black lab. I'm like, I want another German Shorthair. She's like, I want a black lab. I'm like, God damn it, we're getting a black lab.
Yeah, my friend did a German Shorthair pointer. It's just like not much training involved.
No.
It depends on the dog.
What you train them is the basic obedience.
Yeah.
Come, heel. I don't even make her. She sits. Of course she sits. I taught her to sit as a puppy, but she's not paid to sit. She's paid to run out there 150 yards in front of me and look for stuff.
It goes on point.
Yep. Yeah, and then you just walk up and you teach them whoa, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And the key is put them on birds. That's the hard part. Is that like once they get to a certain age, they need to be out in the field, especially like that year 2, out in the field looking for wild birds twice a week,
Yeah.
right? Because like even the pen raised pheasants, it gets monotonous, right? And they need to be challenged and knowing what a wild bird smells like.
Well, all right.
Yes.
I have no idea how this thing works. The red button.